In today's video, we explore a provocative idea. What if the best way to combat climate change is to take a step back and do nothing? As we delve into Earth's natural climate regulation and examine historical fluctuations, we'll also discuss the costs of various climate policies and the unintended consequences of geoengineering. Join us as we navigate the complexities of climate action, human resilience, and the potential for economic growth amidst uncertainty, challenging the traditional narratives surrounding our approach to the planet's changing climate. 1. Earth's natural climate regulation. Earth's ecosystems, such as forests and oceans, naturally act as carbon sinks, absorbing CO2 and regulating the climate. Proponents of the do-nothing approach suggest that these natural systems are adept at maintaining balance and that our focus should be on protecting these systems rather than trying to engineer solutions. They argue that human interference might disturb these natural processes instead of aiding them. Imagine a well-functioning machine. Sometimes, the best course of action is to let it operate on its own rather than tinkering with it unnecessarily. By allowing Earth's natural regulators to continue their work, we might avoid the potential pitfalls associated with artificial interventions. 2. Historical climate fluctuations. Throughout Earth's history, the planet has experienced natural cycles of warming and cooling. Some argue that the current climate changes might be part of these natural fluctuations and do not necessarily require drastic human intervention. Instead, they suggest that humans should focus on adapting to these changes, much like how human societies have historically adapted to various environmental challenges. This perspective draws a parallel to riding a wave. Rather than trying to stop the wave, one might be better off learning how to ride it. Adaptation, in this sense, becomes a more viable strategy than intervention. 3. Cost of climate policies. The implementation of large-scale climate policies, such as transitions to renewable energy or carbon capture technologies, often comes with hefty price tags. Critics of aggressive climate actions argue that the economic burden of such policies might outweigh their benefits. They highlight the financial strain on governments and societies, suggesting that these funds might be better allocated elsewhere. For many, it's akin to spending a fortune on a security system for a potential threat that might never materialize when there are other pressing needs to address. By weighing the costs and benefits, this approach questions the financial feasibility of extensive climate interventions. 4. Unintended consequences of geoengineering. Geoengineering, which includes methods like solar radiation management and carbon dioxide removal, carries inherent risks of unforeseen environmental side effects. These could potentially disrupt weather patterns or damage ecosystems, leading to more harm than good. Critics argue that these interventions could be likened to playing with fire. While the intention might be to provide warmth, there's always a risk of getting burned. The uncertainties surrounding geoengineering make many wary of its widespread adoption, emphasizing the need for caution in pursuing such solutions. 5. Resilience of human societies. History has repeatedly shown that human societies possess remarkable resilience, adapting to changing climates through innovation and migration. Some argue that instead of focusing on drastic preventive measures, we should emphasize building resilience and adaptation strategies. This approach views human societies as a bamboo plant, flexible and capable of bending without breaking. By fostering innovation and adaptive strategies, societies can better navigate the challenges posed by climate change without resorting to extreme interventions. 6. Economic growth and innovation. Critics of aggressive climate action suggest that economic growth, fueled by current energy sources, will naturally lead to innovations that address climate change without the need for heavy-handed policies. They believe that as economies grow, they will naturally invest in cleaner technologies and sustainable practices. This perspective likens economic growth to a river that carves its path, eventually leading to cleaner shores. By encouraging economic development, they argue, societies will organically transition to more sustainable practices in the long run. 7. Rebound effects of green technologies. Transitioning to renewable energy sources and electric vehicles can sometimes lead to rebound effects, such as increased resource mining, which may offset the environmental benefits. Critics point out that while these technologies might seem environmentally friendly on the surface, their production and implementation might carry hidden costs. It's a bit like buying a fuel-efficient car only to drive more miles, negating the fuel savings. Understanding these rebound effects is crucial in evaluating the true impact of green technologies. 8. Impact on developing nations. Climate policies often disproportionately impact developing countries, which rely heavily on inexpensive fossil fuels for their growth. Advocates of a do-nothing approach suggest prioritizing economic development for these nations instead. They argue that imposing stringent climate policies on developing countries is akin to asking someone to run before they can walk. By allowing these nations to develop economically, they can later adopt sustainable practices without compromising their growth. This perspective emphasizes the need for equitable solutions that consider the unique challenges faced by different countries. 9. Voluntary market adjustments. The free market is already driving innovation in renewable energy and sustainable technologies without direct government intervention. Some believe that this organic transition is sufficient and that market forces will naturally lead to cleaner solutions. They liken it to a garden that thrives with minimal interference, allowing nature to take its course. By trusting in the market's ability to adapt and innovate, this approach suggests that voluntary adjustments might be more effective than mandated changes. 10. Scientific uncertainty. While climate science is robust, some uncertainties remain about the pace and extent of climate change. Skeptics argue that this uncertainty does not justify drastic actions that might harm economies and societies. They emphasize the need for a balanced approach, considering the potential risks and benefits of intervention. It's reminiscent of navigating a foggy road. While caution is essential, overreacting might lead to more harm than good. By acknowledging these uncertainties, this perspective calls for careful consideration before implementing large-scale climate policies.